If you look up online funnels for your business right now, chances are what you're going to find are mostly overly complex systems with multiple steps and hoops for potential clients to jump through just to make a purchase. Not only is this complicated to set up and manage from your perspective, but it also can prevent you from making sales with your services, your coaching, or your online program. Gone are the days when people used to get pushed through to a sale with questionable tactics using these types of funnels, because people are a lot more clued up now and they're looking for a much better experience. My advice is to start with something basic and simple, and then you can always add on to it along the way as long as it's effective at what it does. Now, the most important thing to remember here is that people buy from people who they trust. And if you focus on trust and provide a great experience, the sale almost becomes inevitable. In this video, I'm going to show you a simple but effective funnel that you can use to get started with. And this is the same exact funnel structure that's used to generate millions of dollars by some of the most popular experts that you probably follow online with their coaching, their services, and other things that they offer. And it works whether or not you're a beginner. Now, throughout this video, I'm going to throw in some bonus tips as well as I go through the overview. So make sure you watch the video all the way through to the end so you don't miss out. Now, the type of funnel that I'm going to be showing you the overview for is what's called a call booking funnel or an appointment booking funnel. I'm going to show you a 3-step version of this. And I'm also going to add in another step to make it a 4-step version that you can use depending on your situation. You might want to choose one versus the other. One thing that every funnel has in common that I'm going to walk you through, first of all, is the fact that you need some sort of traffic source. If no one's coming to your funnel, you're not going to get leads, you're not going to be able to convert them, you're not going to be able to get clients or customers. So at the top of every funnel is always going to be a traffic source. So with traffic sources, we're talking about places like social media, and we're talking about things like having YouTube videos. Also, you could do a podcast. It's a great way to get people to know you and trust you. And also, you could do paid ads, right? And I know that some people actually think, okay, I can just do paid ads. I can bypass the entire process of doing content. Here's the problem with that. With ads, it's not always a good idea to start with ads because most people, when starting out, first of all, they don't have the budget to run ads properly to the level or to the degree that it needs to be run over a certain period of time to test it to make it make sense. And second of all, with ads, it doesn't give you enough time with someone for them to actually build trust with you. So you might find that if you have ads without any substantial content that people can go and dig into and sink their teeth into and basically learn and get to know you at a deeper level with your philosophy, your methodology, all of these things, this is what builds trust, your content. Ads are not able to do that. Now, you can always do ads later on once you get something that's working and you know that you have a substantial amount of content, but at the beginning, it's not advisable. So, this is where online content comes in to build that trust and to get people to know you, like I said. And all you're going to do is when you're posting to social media or you have a YouTube channel like I do or a podcast like I do, all you have to do is say to people, if you need further help, I offer a free consulting call. You can position it as a discovery call where you can get a better understanding of their needs and see how you can help them or see whether or not you can help them. People are much more likely to book a call with you than to take you up on any other type of free offers when it comes to services like high ticket services or coaching or some programs that you run, because they're going to want to speak to someone anyway in this day and age as well, with the low trust that's online with the advent of AI and so many things that's happening. People want to speak to a real person, and this is going to put you at an advantage. So once you get them on a call, you can go through whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish or whatever it is that they're running into as a difficulty, and you can see how you can help them by providing value on that call. And if it makes sense, you can book them there and then as a client on that call. And the great thing about online content as well is that people get so warmed up by your online content that they come in ready to buy from you. They're not necessarily trying to come to find out anything further about you. Because if you do a good job over here with your online content, what's going to happen is that people are going to convince themselves already, okay, this is the person I want to work with. I like their style. I like the way they teach. Like the way they present. I like the methodology that they use. And if you share all of this with your content, all they need to know is how much does it cost, how does it work, and how do they get started, which is great. Now, the first step in the funnel, once you've driven someone over to your funnel, is to get to the landing page. So, with the landing page, the job of a landing page is to basically capture that lead and book them into your system essentially. Now, the structure of a landing page, what makes it effective is that it has three main aspects to it. So, the first part of this is the headline. Now, the headline is basically the text right at the top of the page is normally the biggest text that grabs attention and it gets people to pay attention. So if you direct the headline at your ideal customer profile, so this is the type of person that you're trying to attract and help, they will pay attention to the rest of it. So the way I like to do headlines, one way is to basically use I call out the problem that they're trying to solve, and then I basically say, get the help you need to solve blank. And you can do it so that you can. So I add so you can to the end of it and put the desired future states. And so they read that in their minds as, okay, I'm going to solve this problem so I can achieve the thing that I want to really achieve. So once you have that there and it grabs their attention, further down on the page, the next element is the detail section or the value proposition. So you could put like a short paragraph or a short few sentences, I should say, or maybe some bullet points, maybe 3 bullet points that calls out what they can expect and the value that they're going to receive from that call. And this doesn't need to be long, by the way. And then the next thing you're going to do is have a call to action, which is basically a button that links to say, book a call now, or book your strategy session, or book your discovery session, however you want to word it. And then once they've clicked on that button, they'll come over to step two. Step two is where they get to actually book in on that call. So what you're going to need on this page is essentially your booking calendar. So they're going to be able to select a time and date. So you'll have your availability set up here. Once they've selected the time and date, then you're going to collect their basic information. So the things you're going to need are the name, an email address, and you might want to ask for a little bit of information, like a free text field that they can type in a bit about themselves, their business, and what they're trying to do, or what the call is about. So you could just word it there like that. Now, the first tip I've got for you here is when you're just starting out, you want to generate as many leads as possible and you want to book as many calls as possible. Try not to build this form out beyond just the basic information. I know that some people actually try and collect additional details and they might have multiple questions on there. This can introduce a lot of friction and have people drop off and not actually book through. So you want to keep it at a minimum level when you're collecting the information on this page here, especially when you're starting out, because the goal is to get as many leads as possible at this point. Once someone's submitted their information, they've selected a time and date, the next thing you're going to want to have is the thank you page, which is basically where they get the confirmation to say this has gone through. Now, everyone basically sees the thank you page because they want to make sure that this booking has gone through. So they'll be waiting to make sure that this page loads. So you have an opportunity here to give them further instructions on what to do next. You might want to also put a bit of information on here that you want them to know to prepare them for that meeting. So you could put additional text here. You could even repeat the same things in your email, or you could send this also as a second email, which I'll touch on in just a moment. Now, another tip I've got for you here is you could embed a video that actually walks them through how to prepare for the call and how they can get the most out of the call. So this actually is a form of onboarding. If you do that here as well, you can start that process here, because if people don't necessarily go through and check their email straight away, at least they know what to expect and it gets them excited for that call. So that's a little tip that I've got for you there. There's not much that you need to build out. All you need to do is have some sort of calendar booking system that you can embed on the page. I use the WordPress system particularly, so I have one that I use called Fluent Bookings. There's also one that you can embed called TidyCal. You can book that on, embed that on any page because it's a third-party platform. But the one that I use primarily is inside WordPress. So it doesn't really matter as long as you're able to put your availability in and manage your bookings coming through that way. Now, in terms of the follow up or the onboarding or automations that you would run with this, you don't really need too many automations because with the booking calendar system, you typically have the ability to send out an automatic email within that system itself anyway, or you're able to um, basically trigger certain things within that. So, what I say you need to send out is obviously the confirmation email. We spoke about that earlier. This confirmation email is going to just say, hey, thank you for booking. This is the time and date. And this is what you can expect on the call. You're basically reaffirming and reassuring and getting people ready for that call. Um, the other thing that you might want to send out is a reminder. You want to automate this, by the way, as well as the confirmation. I know you can handle all of this manually as well, but the thing is, you want to make the system do the work for you as much as possible. So you can customize these emails, and depending on the platform that you use, the reminder is going to be a great help. You can send that out or uh, schedule it or program it to go out a day before or a few hours before the call. This way, you get more people showing up for the calls because not everyone's going to show up for the call. But this will remind people because sometimes people genuinely forget. You can even send a reminder to yourself as well if the platform allows for that so that you don't forget that you have a call. Well, it should be in your calendar at least. Now, in between the confirmation and the reminder, maybe because you haven't collected a lot of information, you might be wondering, okay, so how do I know if they haven't filled in too much information over here on the calendar booking page? How do I know all the information that I need before the call? So what you can do is send them an email. You can just communicate like you normally do to follow up with someone. You can type a custom email and send it to them and say, hey, thank you. I know you've booked and we're going to have a call. I'm looking forward to the call. Here is some information that I need from you so I can prepare for the call. And you can have a standard template of information with points, questions that you want to ask them so they can reply to you manually in that email. So you could do it that way. Or you could automatically program this to go out as well in the system after they've made the booking. But depending on the type of submissions you're getting or the requests that you're getting, you might want to change that up a little bit. So maybe a standard email isn't going to work, but it depends on how you want to do it. So basically, you just need maybe 3 emails to go out, but you can always send additional emails depending on how far out the booking is. It just depends, right? One way that you could get things to work a bit better is if you find that you're getting too many leads coming through and you can't handle as many of those leads coming through, you're being bombarded. What you can do is introduce some friction. Right now, getting too many leads is a good problem to have, but you could actually put some friction in place. Or if you feel like the quality, maybe you're handling the leads okay, but the quality of the leads that are coming through are not that great in your opinion, and you want to make sure you filter for quality, what you can do is add this additional step in, and this is called the application step or a questionnaire, where you basically introduce a form between the landing page and the calendar page. So essentially, what's going to happen is that people are going to go from the landing page to this application or questionnaire, and you're going to ask them some detailed questions. You're going to ask them a set of detailed questions. So you're collecting more information than you would collect on the basic form. And what this does for you is 2 things. One is it filters out those people who are not serious anyway, because if they don't fill this form, they're not going to be able to proceed to the next step over here, right? So you don't have to deal with those people because they're not serious. If they can't take 2 to 3 minutes to fill out a few questions, that's going to help them get the information they need or get the help that they need to make progress. So that's one thing. It also helps you by helping you to gather information, more information than you would normally get before they book. And therefore, you're prepared without having to email them and follow up too many times to ask for further information. Because if they fill this out properly or thoughtfully, you should have all the information you need. So once they've submitted this form down here, they go through to select their calendar date. And you can do it in such a way that the information they fill out on this form down here translates or transfers across to here, so they don't have to fill in things like their name and email. It's a little bit more technical, but it's not the end of the world if they need to fill in their name and email again. You could do it so that they go through and do the booking straight away. But another tip I've got for you as a bonus here is, if you find that this is stopping people from booking, if you're not getting enough people coming through since you've introduced this is the opposite of the problem now. What you can do is you can reverse the order of where this form sits. So instead of having it in front of the booking form, you can put it afterwards. So you still allow them to book on the calendar, and then you introduce it here. And this way, when they submit this form, they go through, when they submit the booking rather, they go through to this form down here, and they have to fill this in to gather the information. But even if they don't fill this in at that point, you still have that booking. So you can always follow up with them to say, hey, if they haven't completed the form, you can follow up and say, hey, you did not complete your form. Or you give them a stipulation to say, you have to complete this within 24 hours of submission. This is how I do it sometimes. That way, if they don't do it, I just cancel the booking. Or if someone doesn't fill in adequate information, or it's completely something different to what I can help them with, then I'll just cancel the booking. I'll just say, sorry, but I can only work with people who do this, or people who have this in place, or whatever the case might be. So that way you don't really hurt your bookings, but you are able to still capture the information that you need with that form. So once you've done that, you've got your booking. All you need to do is go into your calendar and check what you have coming in, and see basically the information submitted. And then you can start doing your research, looking into whatever you need to, and get prepared for the call. So this is a great way to get started as a funnel that makes sense without having to add all sorts of complexities into it. Now, if you need additional help with this, check the link in the description to see several options on my website where you can get some help from me or additional resources. I'm also going to be recording additional videos over the coming weeks that covers each aspect of this particular funnel as well. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out. Hit that bell notification icon. In the meantime, I'm going to leave a link in the description or a video on screen that you can watch next. That's going to help you further with your strategy for your funnel or your online systems. I'll catch you in the next one.